So let's factor some trinomials where a is greater than 1. That means that when we look at the trinomial, let's take 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. The leading coefficient is greater than 1. And so it is a little bit more complex to factor these, especially if we're not using guessing and checking. And so in this method, what we want to do is we want to simply multiply the a times the last term, which I call c. And so if we do that, we get 2 times 3, which is 6. And then we want to ask ourselves, what numbers multiply to get us to 6 and add to get us to 7? And if this is a factorable problem, there's only 2 numbers in the world that will do that. And they are, in this case, 6 and 1. Right? 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. And so we can start to factor our trinomial here by setting up 2 parentheses. And we want to put a along with x in the first spot of each parentheses. Now I know right now that 2x times 2x does not give you 2x squared. We'll talk about dealing with that in just a second. And so what we want to do is take these 2 numbers and we want to plug them in right here, next to 2x. Now the order does not matter, so you could put the 6 here and the 1 here, it will not change your factor. And that's basically it. We just have to now fix the problem that if we look at re-multiplying these 2 factors together, we're not going to get what we started with, which of course is a problem. And so if we want to get 2x squared, we actually want to divide this entire expression by 2. And so if we do that, we're going to get the 2 factors. And so what you're going to see with this number down here is that it's always the same as the leading coefficient. And so you'll have the leading coefficient 3 times whenever you factor using this technique. To finish our problem, we notice that 2 can actually divide into one of these factors evenly. And we want to do that. And so if we divide 2 into the second parentheses, our first parentheses will stay the same. In our second parentheses, we're going to divide 2 into 2x. We're just going to get x. And we'll divide 2 into 6, which will be 3. And so you'll find that these are the 2 factors for this trinomial here. And you can prove that, of course, by multiplying everything here back together. So let's take a look at one more example here. So let's look at 3x squared plus 10x plus 8. Again, this is a is greater than 0 factoring problem because we have a trinomial and we have a number that's greater than 0 as our leading coefficient. Greater than 1. And so let's multiply 3 times 8 together here. We're going to get 24. And 2 numbers multiply to 24 and add to 10. I'll give you a second to think about that. So if you got 6 and 4, you've got the right answers. And so let's start to make our factors here. So we want to make 2 sets of parentheses. Let's put 3x in the first spot for each. And again, we don't need to worry about the order, just as long as we get positive 6, because this is a positive 6 here, and plus 4, because this is a positive 4 here. And so our last step is we divide by 3. So finally, we can get rid of this denominator here by dividing it into one of the fractions, and it looks like it goes evenly into the first parentheses. And so we're going to get x plus 2 for our first parentheses, and the second will stay the same. That's it.